This is Honey Badger Nation,
where real estate agents from around the globe come together
to grow, collaborate,
and expand their business.
Where we take our individual fires
and put them together and make one big fire.
This is the Honey Badger Nation.
Hello. Hi. Welcome. I am so glad to introduce to everybody Mee-Len Scott, the fabulous Mee-Len Scott.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. You have a huge fan base already.
Great audience. We've got a great audience today.
Great audience today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Well, I had the pleasure of being introduced to Mee-Len at eXpcon that we just got back from in Las Vegas. It was should I say a good time? I mean,
it felt like a once in a lifetime experience that I hope I can just keep replicating. It was phenomenal.
I feel like the term rockstar experience came out at some point, during that.
A lot. Yeah. I feel like I'm riding this like wild eXpcon high, and it's really interesting getting to bring that energy back, like with my team as well. Everyone's like, you're just glowing. Like, what happened over there? Like, tell me about Vegas.
The thing is we have been doing conferences, and to me this was like this was off the hook. I mean, this is amazing. It was 7,500 people in Vegas. We're all pulling the same wagon, doing the same thing. It was really cool to have the synergy and just the electricity in the air.
And I think like what added to it as well was like, with the last 2 years with COVID, it's been really hard for us to do these. Everyone's been so segmented, to sort of have everybody in a room working towards the same goals was really, really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you told me that this was your first conference, right?
Yeah, I've never been to a work conference before, much less one in Vegas. And I just feel like I reached out to the right people for help. And then I got into like a bunch of rooms that I felt like I had no business being in, but I was so glad to be there. Like my goal with going to Vegas, like I wanted to be the dumbest person in every room. And that was what happened there, right? So I can kind of just leech off of everybody's like experience and information. And everyone was just so incredibly willing to help. So it was just it was very it fed my soul, this experience. It was so nice to be there.
That's great. That's wonderful to hear. Tell me, what do you think was your biggest takeaway? I mean, I know you learned a lot of stuff and met a lot of really cool people and had some great experiences, but what was your biggest takeaway? What's the number one thing that you remember learning there?
Yeah, it's funny. I listened to your interview with Erin yesterday, and she talked about how everyone was like open and vulnerable. I think my biggest takeaway was like, ask for help with an eXp. Like everybody wanted to help me. And it's this interesting thing, right? I'm a pretty new agent. I'm like 2.5 years into my career. I had some pretty specific goals that I'm sort of trying to reach. And there's this sort of nervous thing as a newer agent. You're like, hey, can I ask the higher ups for this, right? Like, can I go to the big wigs, like the big names in here and get help from them? But I feel like the lesson I learned is like, everyone's a really normal person. Everybody has reached this great level of success that now they're like, how do I help somebody else get here? And the response I got when I asked for help was overwhelming. So my big takeaway is reach out to people in eXp. Like they want to help you. They want to see you succeed. And it was a very like non-judgmental, okay, I see your problem. Here are solutions I've implemented. Here's what's worked well for me, but also go talk to this person. They're going to have some really great resources for you. So my big takeaway was to ask for help. And then my other not smaller takeaway, but I need to like love on my people more. So like the agents that I'm attracting, my team, my clients, just to like genuinely show up in a way, how can I how can I help you? Right. I've grown my business. My business is going well. What can I do to help your business grow? And like, the people who helped me at eXpcon with that are going to have my loyalty forever, right? And so it was really interesting to see if you just approach these situations as what can I offer you. I'm really curious to see what that'll bring into my life.
That's really good to hear. So a couple of things that I found very fascinating about you was that you live and work in Canada, in Victoria specifically. In British Columbia, which for those of you that don't know is just right above Seattle. It's a beautiful island and place and a destination place and
it's like the best part of Canada.
Oh boy, okay,
I'm biased,
all right,
but
here it goes. All right, that's part of Canada, yes. I mean, look, I spent a lot of time there too. I went scuba diving there, would go vacationing there and things like that. It's just an awesome place. What is your what's your average price point there?
Yeah, so Victoria we have really, really nice weather and we have a really great lifestyle. So we get a lot of people, like we get a lot of imports into Victoria. And there's a lot of like old money in Victoria as well. So as of last month, our single family home average price point was 1.1 million.
1.1 million. Yeah, not a bad place to be to sell real estate, right?
I mean, it gets you a house that needs some work.
Right?
You can get a house, but you
so I can get a fixer for 1.1.
You get a fixer for 1.1.
Okay.
You get a fixer. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and our average like 1-bedroom condo price point is probably around 400-ish right now. So we've got a pretty big range.
Okay. Well, that seems like a great price point to be in. You were telling me that so this is your second year, it's the end of your second year in business, right? And how many houses in are you now?
Yeah, I'm hovering between about 65 to 70 houses that I've sold. I'm about 2.5 years into my business right now. And I joined like the Kiteke collective over here and really we had a really robust training and they've built a system where like I can just go out and sell. Like my job is to prospect, to negotiate and to show homes and a lot of the other things just get taken off my plate. So it's built in a way where I can do a ton of volume.
That's great. What's the name of your team?
So we're the Kiteke collective. And then Patricia Kiteke is our team lead. Our team's interesting. So when I started, there was only about 4 of us agents, and we've really focused on agent attraction this year. So we're trying to hit 20 by the end of the year, and we're at about 16 agents now that are signed on. So we're hoping to kind of triple by the end of the year from where we started.
Yeah, I met Patricia too. She's fantastic, and sounds like it has an amazing team with everybody there. It was a pleasure meeting everybody. Did you bring was it your whole team there or was it just some of them?
No, there was only 4 of us in total that managed to make it. Some of the, like I missed eXpcon my first year too, right? You're like, oh, can I justify this expense? Like, I don't know when my paycheck comes in, right? So a lot of the new agents didn't quite make, and we have some that just bought their own houses and all of that stuff. So it was just a smaller sort of segment of our team. So it was Patricia and her husband, Greg, that run the team, and then myself and Calvin, and Calvin and I are like the top producers on our team. So it was a really interesting group. Every time I'd go to like one of the events, I'd have notes and notes and notes, and I felt like I would just brain dump on them. I was like, oh, let me tell you about this, and then this idea, and then this came up, and then this. So it was our energy there was just like amazing. And we have like a Friday accountability meeting with the rest of the team, and Patricia's like, Mee-Len, tell us a little bit about what your Vegas trip was like. And I was like, great, how much time do I have? Like, when do you need to cut me off?
So now are you in competition? Are you guys in, you have friendly, competitions between team members?
Yeah, Calvin and I I'm like psychotically competitive, and I swear that that's part of the reason that I've been so successful in real estate. Like I hate losing. Like tell me what it's going to take. I want to win this. Give it to me. And it's funny because it brings out the competition in the other team members too, right? Like everybody's game has sort of gone up, and they're all trying to hit the numbers that Calvin and I are hitting. And it's a lot of, but it's supportive and friendly competition, right? Like if anyone from the team was to come tell me they want a 5-deal month and that's their goal, like we're all going to help them get there. Right. So there's no, and it's just not tolerated in our culture. Like we're not, we can't be like aggressively competitive with each other. We're like supporting competition between each other.
That's fantastic. I mean, in from my experience in seeing new agents, a lot of them fail like right out the gate. Like they don't even get, past year one, let alone working on 70 homes, especially at your price point level, after year two. What do you think you attribute to all that? I mean,
yeah, honestly, the team. I think that it was structured in a way that was, we do this exercise every year, and actually like this is why I love this team so much. Every year I tell them the things I hate about my job, and then they outsource them. And they say, like, what is going to help you
a
produce
lot of
right now?
support.
Like, so much support. I think like, we've got some virtual assistants, we've got, or some, Frank had a better name for this, some international employees, right? And then we've got some people on the ground here. So there, any given time, there's about 6 or 7 people that are behind the scenes supporting me and helping, me make this happen. And it's so that I can just focus on the things that I'm really, really good at and sort of my high leverage activities. So that's a big part of it. The other thing, you and I were chatting about it before, like I used to sell radio advertising before this, right? And what that means is I'm selling 30 seconds of airtime to a client that may or may not hear it. I can't really prove it works. There's a ton of competition. It's expensive and you have to buy it from me, right? And so I was like, if I can sell 30 seconds of time, and I was successful at that, like I can probably sell a house, right? Because at the end of the day, you get keys in hand and you know what your product is going to be. You know exactly what the result is. And so when I came into real estate, like I'm not afraid of the phones. I'm quite good on the phones. Most of my leads, most of my sales are actually people I've fished online, right? That have never met me before. I also sell a ton of like sight unseen. So I'll sell to people in Ontario who can't get themselves over to BC, and I'll sell off of video previews. So
is that right? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, a good amount of my business, people have not seen the property before. They move to Victoria, they get keys in hand. This is your house. So I think that I leveraged the online activities really well. And I'm also pretty ruthless about where I spend my time. Every week I touch about like my A leads and my B leads. And I sort of have this like special class in my A leads for like my A1 leads, where like this person has a clear timeline. They have to be in here. They have to do this. And those people get most of my focus. And then, the other regular A leads will get some focus. And the Bs, they sort of have to get themselves onto my A list, which is interesting. Like I do expect quite a bit out of my clients, but the expectation is set properly, and they'll do the work to get themselves onto the A list, which is interesting.
That's a really great way of doing it. Wow, that's awesome. Where did you learn to do that? Just from your radio sales, do you think? Is that
No, I was definitely not organized enough during the radio sales. I think once I got into real estate and I realized how strong I was on the phone, it became very clear I had to be incredibly protective of my time. The amount of work I could put into somebody that wasn't necessarily super committed to me, I was like, oh, this is a waste of time. Go spend your time on the people who are committed and are going to buy. And I feel, Patricia always says, when you generate, you don't tolerate. So I'll work with the clients who want to work with me and who do the things that I need them to do so I can do my job effectively. And I've learned, like, I'm not going to sell a house to everybody, and it's okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, just clearing that wood, we call it that, clearing the wood, right? Clearing the wood out of the database and just focusing on the hottest prospects. I mean, that and you're right. You have the spirit of abundance because you're continually prospecting and getting out there, and you know what you're doing, and you're an expert, and you segment, and that's, that seems to serve you well.
Yeah.
That's great. Tell me some about some of these good times in Vegas. I mean, what was your favorite thing? Like we had, some amazing events. There was some cool stuff that happened. And I mean, what was your favorite thing? Like, what was the favorite part about it? What was the pinnacle?
I mean, selfishly, I'm not gonna, it was like the people that I got to be in a room with, right? Like Jake Hinder and Albie and like you and like Frank, like these were just like, they were very unreal experiences for me, right? I feel like these are the people I heard everybody all weekend talk about, like, I got to get in front of him. Like, how do I go have a chat with him? And I had like a bunch of just regular, like one-on-one life experiences with them. And everybody that I've reached out to since then has given me an abundance of resources. I feel like all of you are like helping me build a plan to get where I want to go. And I was like, there couldn't have been better people to help me with that. Right. And so I think the big thing for me too is like the agent attraction side of this kind of scares me. It's not something I'm very comfortable with, but it's rare that things scare me in life. And I'm like, cool, this is probably the right path for me, right? Like do the things that kind of scare you, and having the support to get me there is interesting. There were so many good moments. I don't know. It felt like a very, very rock star experience for me.
Just one thing after the next, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. You know,
What do you have? What's your favorite moment? I mean, the gala was pretty good.
Gala was pretty good. How'd you like all the magic tricks?
I was like half paying attention. I feel like I had gone out to the bathroom and I came back and he was like fully into his set. And it's funny, I remember watching him on America's Got Talent. So it was like, and his billboards were everywhere, right? So it was pretty cool that we had him there for the event. I mean, Mario Lopez too. Like I didn't know I'd get so excited about seeing Mario Lopez. Yeah, it was, and there was like all the contortionists too, which I thought was really interesting. And yeah, it's so hard for me to pick a moment because like that whole weekend or week, I mean, it was like a Monday to Thursday, but that whole week was just crazy for me.
Yeah, it really was. It just seemed to just start and just didn't stop the whole way through. I mean, it's just excitement a lot of learning, a lot of fun, a lot of good connections, right? You know what, one thing that I was actually most excited to learn about you was basically your 5-year plan and where you're going. I mean, you're getting a great start, and where you want to go with things in life. And it's just to me is really amazing. It's a lot of fun. It sounds like you got a lot of things figured out and you've got the right vehicle to get there.
Yeah. So, and it's funny. And so my plans adjusted a little bit. Like when I came into eXpcon, my big question, like I want location independence. So how do I sell without actually being in Victoria? Like, ideally I'd love to be sitting on a boat, like making this happen from the back end. And so I'm 33 now. And my goal was that by 45, I wanted to have the option to retire. So I've given myself 12 years. I was like, let's build these systems. Once I got into talking about this with, some of the heavy hitters, they were like, we really cut down like what my expenses that I need monthly are very, very low, right? It's just me. I don't have any dependents. I've got a little whippet and that's kind of it. And I've structured my life where like my bills are all very manageable. So my big takeaway from it was like, what you need to survive, you can easily make it passive income. And like, you don't need to wait 12 years to do this. Essentially, I feel like my 12-year plan kind of got fast tracked into like, you could do this in 3 to 5 years. And I don't necessarily actually want to retire at 45. I think I just want to go into like consulting or have sort of like different roles. And the thought of giving up production is always a little bit scary. But I feel like the plan that's sort of being offered and implemented for me is like, you can do this really quickly and really easily because your costs are so low. This is the time, get it done. So I don't, 45 feels like a long time from now to get this done after these conversations. I'm like, let's bang this out in 3 to 5 years.
And I don't know if you saw one of my previous lives, Gentleman by the Pool, he and his wife, they were building, they had a team going, just humming right along in Ohio. And they decided just to focus on agent attraction 1 year. And then 3 years later, they're literally telling me about their place in the Virgin Islands and how they're, I mean, they sell because they want to. It's just the gravy, but they're making their money off of the agent attraction, recurring income.
Yeah.
Which to me is just really cool. It just you get what you focus on, and if that's the goal, eXp certainly has that opportunity.
Yeah. It's structured in a way. It's interesting for a brokerage that it's structured in a way to help you get out of production, right? Which I don't think there's any other brokerage that makes it so easy for you to do that. And I mean, I think that's why I love eXp. Like they get it. They get that we all eventually will want to get out of production. How do we ensure that we're set up properly for that?
Right. Right. And yeah, and having an exit strategy, yeah, that's certainly unique in our whole field. I mean, I don't know any other real company that offers that or even has a real good plan for that. But this one certainly does, and we see the proof, and it's really neat for me too, because like you said, you just kind of meet all these people, and you get to hear their stories and what they're doing, and it's like, wow, I knew it was real, but it really is real.
It's real. Yeah, you're like, oh, it's in front of me right now. Like, this is attainable.
Yeah. So neat. Well, so what's next? Are you coming to the shareholder summit?
I'm working on my travel plan. Coming to eXp, yeah, I mean, it opened up a lot of doors where normally sort of where I'm at in my career, I feel like I wouldn't have had those opportunities pop up. So I'm just I'm working on my 2022 travel plan, and I'm going to try to make it out to more of these events.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd love to see you out, and it was a pleasure meeting you. And hey, thanks for coming on and spending your afternoon with me on here. And I know it means a lot, to everybody watching and just hearing your experience. So
thank you. I'm very honored to be here. It's my first podcast. This is cool.
Oh, that's right. It's your first one. Oh,
my first podcast. Thank you.
Well, thanks again, and have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Hope you guys get to stay dry out there. It's crazy over here.
Me too.
Okay.
Bye.